What is going on, everybody? So today is a little bit of a different video. I asked you guys in my YouTube community tab to let me know what COVID-19, the whole basic training COVID-19 experience was like for you. So we're going to hear it straight from you guys. We're going to be going through reading some of y'all's comments talking about what basic training is like during the pandemic. All right, so I'm going to be looking at this for the first time with you. I've kind of let this go for about a week or so there's a lot of comments here, 160 comments, and that's going to be a lot of information for you guys. So as you guys can see, I said leave a comment of what your COVID-19 basic training experience was like, and then I said I'd like to do a video on it, so here I am doing a video on it. Now the purpose for this is I didn't go to basic training during COVID-19. You guys right now, if you're about to go to basic training, you're going to be experiencing all of this stuff. So hearing it straight from y'all and what y'all's experience was like, for those of you that are still there, going through reception, just graduated basic training, I'm going to read these different ones right here. So I'm just going to go through here and read this with you guys. If you want to actually look at this yourself and read all of them yourself, feel free to go to my community tab. But the first thing here, Louise, I was 2 weeks into regular old basic training, then on Monday everything changed, which I'm sure it was a crazy experience. We had to wear our neck gaiters all the time, which I'm sure would have sucked. We had to maintain 6 feet distance. We were all confused as we were disconnected from the world. That probably was a really funny experience, because like when you go to basic training, you literally are disconnected. So if this happens, you're like, what in the world is going on? Why are we having to do this? It's probably a really weird experience. They didn't do drill and ceremony, that's DNC. They would eat hot A's for breakfast, and then all as well as lunch, and then MREs for dinner. No family day or graduation day with family coming there. That is something that I will just go ahead and say. Some people are probably gonna be saying that in this video, which is there's no family day and no normal graduation day. This person right here, no more combatives training because of COVID. Yeah, that would be something they're definitely not doing. Basically graduating half a year's worth of soldiers who don't know how to fight. Just so you know, don't feel like you lost out on too much stuff, because the combatives that they're going to teach you at basic training isn't like all that much stuff. Hector, you're getting smoked over here whenever you don't have a gator neck on. Yeah, that's just one more thing for drill sergeants to get onto you about. If you sweat a lot, you get waterboarded by your mask. Other than that, it's pretty all right. Yeah, I'm sure going over the summer, all the sweat that you'd be doing, that's kind of funny. COVID canceled much of training such as combatives and shortened much of the special weapons training like the 50 cal and M240. Even, you'd be lucky if you did those. If you don't go infantry, you're probably not going to get to train on the 240. There was no eating in the cafeteria, so that's, a good or a bad thing, I guess. Whenever you have the food brought out to you, kind of like a cafeteria style, it's definitely less portions. They're a lot more stingent with you, and you can't get like a whole bunch of extra stuff like you might be able to get if you actually go through the cafeteria yourself. Let's scroll down here a little bit to see. So this one looks pretty good here by Infernal Star. So his basic training experience, I'm gonna, for the sake of the video, skip this up and jump down to the numbers. Number 1, mask on at all times unless doing extremely rigorous physical activity or eating. Number 2, maintain social distancing as much as possible. Number 3, if you show symptoms or test positive for COVID, you will go to quarantine for 2 weeks or until you test negative. In quarantine, you receive your phone and are able to buy stuff off of Amazon. That's really interesting. The only exception is you can't buy nicotine or alcohol while in the quarantine location. So number 3, that's really interesting. Number 4, if a large amount of your company gets COVID, the entire company will move out of the bay and into the field for a set amount of time, but you will still train. That is interesting. I think I've heard that. I didn't really think about it too much, but apparently from what this person is saying is if a lot of people in your company get COVID or they test positive for COVID, then you basically all are gonna go out and do like an FTX style thing. So you're gonna be sleeping outside, which is really interesting. That's an interesting way of doing things. All right, James says, be prepared for a 2-week quarantine when you get there, which is gonna suck. Training is limited, what you can do, wear masks all the time, we got that. Be prepared to be a holdover after graduation. I know basic training is different, but for mine, I had to wear a mask all the time, even during PT. Man, that sucks. All right, Dalton here, he's got some good information for y'all that we haven't covered yet, and that was his cycle, May 18th to July 30th. He said it's not terrible, didn't do pugil sticks, that also sucks. Pugil stick was one of the fun things to do. We obviously know we don't do combatives right now. Gas chamber was completely different as well. Okay, so you break the seal for 10 seconds and you do not breathe and keep your eyes closed. The rucks were shortened. So the gas chamber, I want to point that out real quick. So basically what he's saying is the gas chamber is going to be a cinch. You don't even really have to worry about the gas chamber that much. It'll burn a little bit, but 10 seconds is nothing just for breaking the seal. That's like, I mean, piece of cake, okay? Rucks were shortened. Well, that's crazy. The forge was 3 days and 4 nights. We returned to the CTA at midnight. There is no family day of graduation. We got that. All right, now I'm gonna go through and read a little bit and see if I can find some interesting new information for y'all. All right, just found a good one here by Bread Person. Okay, so we're gonna skip down to the middle paragraph that he talks about. So he went to Fort Leonard Wood and he says he was the first cycle where they introduced a new yellow phase, which is interesting. So he said yellow phase is basically a quarantine period. The drills are toned down and the drill sergeants teach you stuff to get you ready for a rushed red phase. That's kind of what I'm getting the gist of here, is they've got the yellow phase kind of mixed in before red phase, and it's kind of like a quarantine period. So you do some PT'd, but it's mostly on you, which is interesting. They removed the shark attack after our cycle, so no shark attack. You don't got to worry about that anymore. And during yellow phase, they take your temperature 3 times a day. Best hope you don't go over the threshold, because I'm sure they're going to quarantine you if you test high, or just as far as your temperature goes, I'm sure. During this period, all you do is sit around and clean and sanitize, prepare to be bored. We ate in the DFAC after yellow phase, but during it, hot A's and MRE, you are only required to pass 1 ACFT due to COVID risk. Transportation really sucked because early in the cycle they only take up to 21 passengers per bus, and my company had 230. It means being up extra early and get some extra late waiting, gets home extra late waiting for trains. That's actually something I didn't really think about, is usually you get transported on buses at basic training. And if you have over 200 people and they're only allowing so many people, instead of taking 4 buses, which usually what it would be for a company of 200 people, that's going to be like a lot more buses. So that's going to be definitely a lot of waiting time. Edit here, in his opinion, now is the best time to join. If you're not actively doing something in the civilian world with the COVID shutdowns, you won't miss out on much of that. You won't miss out much when at basic, but as above, expect to not meet your set schedule for graduating. There are people that had been stuck for 43 weeks. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that would suck. So basically, I just want to say, reading through some of these comments, like looking at Tanya's, the yellow phase, the quote unquote 2 weeks of quarantine that they add to the beginning of basic training is really just rushing the rest of your basic training experience, which is kind of okay, because I mean, in my opinion, whenever I went to basic, there was a lot of just downtime. So, I mean, they could probably make it a week shorter if they wanted to, but adding that 2 entire weeks of essentially quarantine at the beginning, I'm sure is definitely rushing things. And I mean, it's got to be interesting with having people leaving, going quarantine, entire companies leaving. It's probably a humongous headache for the commanders there, the people that are planning out base trainings. I'm sure it is a huge headache. So that's going to be basically it for this video. I'm not sure how it's going to really turn out. I just wanted to ask y'all what your COVID-19 basic training experience was like. Kind of go through it in the comment section. I'm going to leave a link to it obviously below to this page, but also, like I said, you can go to my community tab on my YouTube channel and read through all this stuff yourself. So it'd be a great resource if you want to read more in depth on all these different people's experience, because it's definitely, like I said in my recent video that I made talking about basic training and joining during this period, it's gonna be different. You're gonna be wearing gator necks apparently all the time, even when you're doing PT, and that's gonna suck. You got the 2 weeks of quarantine in the yellow phase that they have going on, which then makes the rest of basic training rushed. And then you know, if you test positive, or somebody was saying, hey, you better not tell them that you have a sore throat or else you're gonna be quarantined, you know, that's gonna be interesting. So if you're leaving for basic training soon, read these comments, get some of these experiences so that you're not super surprised whenever you actually get there. Because if you don't do this and you think it's gonna be a normal experience, you're probably gonna be in for quite a surprise. And if you're wondering, Matt, when is this gonna get back to normal? The answer is, I have absolutely No clue. So that is gonna be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, that would be awesome. If you want to check out some more of my videos, hit the subscribe button. That would be even better. Follow me on Instagram and Snapchat if you haven't already. I hope you guys have an amazing freaking day. If you're leaving a basic training going soon, good luck to you, and I will see y'all later.